This title of today's talk, Making a Donut Hole. This word donut hole, it is a compound word, donut and hole, and has actually several different meanings. First meaning that I had heard long back was we were going to have a spiritual retreat like we will be having next Saturday, and then somebody suggested that for to go with tea, let us buy some donut holes. And I was surprised, how can you buy holes? No, holes, it is not that you are buying holes, but no, these, when they make donuts, they make a hole there, and that little ball is sold separately, so that is called hole. And then I learned that because those holes are quite popular, even without making those donuts, they just make those little donuts, but they still get called as donut holes. Although they are not holes, yet they get the name donut holes. So, in fact, you can just make only those little balls and only the holes without making a donut. Then there is some roadside assistant company that also has the name donut hole. So it is. Now let us see how this word donut hole. There are many such words that we use. That like a pinhole. What is a pinhole? Not that it is a hole in a pin. It is a hole made by a pin. That is called pinhole. The manhole, what does it mean? It is not that made by a man or it is made in a man. No, it is something that for man to pass through, that is called a manhole, so that a man can get into it to do various works, like you have on these sewage lines, or where the electric lines go, a manhole is kept so that a person, if repairs are need to be carried, then one can go down through that. So they are called manholes. Now, donut hole is a hole that is made into a donut. When you see a donut, there is a hollow in it, like you see in the pictures there. That now these pictures, of course, are taken from internet, and it is nice pictures. So you see that the hole is kept separately. The donut, without the hole, it will be just a flat thing, and the taste remains the same, but to make it kind of attractive, easy to hold, maybe a hole is cut into the middle, and then that is a donut hole. So, when you are looking at it, what are you looking at? Are you looking at the donut, or are you looking at the hole? It is, does the hole exist without a donut? And donut hole, in this sense, with this connotation, does it exist without donut? Its existence is connected with that of donut and donut hole. It doesn't have a separate existence of its own. It is the donut and a hole in it. So If you remove the donut, does the donut hole exist anymore? No, you cannot see just the donut hole. If you remove the donut, the boundary around it, then that is, there is no hole per se. It is this idea I actually heard in a retreat given here by Atmajnananandji. Can you have, he was explaining the ideas about existence. And this existence, does it depend on the attributes that get associated with it? Or it is an independent thing? And in Vedanta philosophy, there is a profound, long discussion in the Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, and also by the various commentators on what does this existence itself means, and what, when we say things exist, what actually is meant by that. And this has, although this is a bit difficult to grasp, not very easy. That is why some such examples given, like donut hole. It is, it doesn't have, the whole doesn't have any separate existence per se. It is just a concept, an idea, and not a real existence. It is the donut that defines the whole. So it is the attribute of donut gives the existence to the donut hole. Without this donut, there is no existence of donut hole. As far as this particular connotation goes, that a hole in the middle of a donut. So it is a secondary derived existence, depends only on the existence itself, and then the names given to various aspects of it. It is in Bhagavad Gita, in the second chapter, a beautiful verse comes about. It is almost the beginning of the advice being given by Lord to the disciple Arjuna, that look, you have to see things as they actually are. It is the names and forms, they keep on changing. The shapes arise, you give them a name, connect to those shapes differently. The shapes go away, they are in continuous flux. What does not go away is the existence itself. That is a very important concept in our clearing our understanding, that what we are referring to when we say this podium is. This podium is. What are we referring to? Those who have been coming here for many years may recognize or may not, because the form has changed a lot, that this was where in that old chapel, this was the altar where the images, holy images were kept, worship was being done. This was that. So now it is called podium. Some alterations have been done. This light, microphone and all that, to fit all that, the changes have been made. But what was being called as altar, now it gets called podium. What did not change there? The wood did not change. The wood got various different forms. So, the existence undergoes lot of transformations, get different names, and the transformations keep on continuously there. It even though we do not perceive, it is happening all the time, and the things change. They do not remain the same. Time eats them up, just alters their shape. And when we use it for a different function, the name also gets accordingly changed. A potter makes pots. There is a heap of clay in India. This sight was pretty common in olden times. May not be now that commonly seen, but I have seen this happening, that those potter people, they would have the clay brought in, and then the heap of clay would be seen in their compound. And then they would make pots and different types, different shapes, different sizes, and would get different names. One is a barrel, rather big one. One would be good for keeping, this water, storing grains and so forth. And there would be different sizes of them. Some would be used, to light the lamps. So they would get therefore the names, a barrel, a drum, a pot, or a lamp. Now, all are made, they are all just clay. They would be kept for drying in the same courtyard. They would be kept for sun drying. And then if you ask the potter, I passed through here yesterday and there was a huge heap of clay. Where is it? He would point to those pots, say, this is that. It has been given different names, different shapes, different functions, but it is clay. The pots, those shapes, names, function will keep on changing. But all that is really the clay alone. A very famous statement in Chandogya Upanishad, that vacha rambhanam vikaro namadheya mrittika ityeva satyam. The teacher is telling the disciple that the modifications are by only the speech. You associate names, and thus the things are looking different. But all the time, they are just the clay. They are never different from clay. Even when you say, give it a name, that this is a barrel. Now, what is it really? Are you looking at a barrel or clay? You are looking at clay. You will give that clay there the name as barrel. You may give the name as a pot, a big pot, small pot, but they are at all the time only clay. You cannot look at the pot without clay, but you can look at the clay without pot. There can be a lamp made of that clay. There can be just a heap of clay. There can be a mold of clay. So many things you can see there. They are made of clay. You are looking at clay. So, in everything that we perceive, if we closely look at it, existentialist in 1940s or so, gave it a very close look that the existence does not really depend on the essentials that you attach to them. Essential means they are provided by the names, the attributes that get associated with it. The existence is primary something. So, two awarenesses arise simultaneously. Whenever we think of anything or look at anything, we have to give a deep thought to feel this, friends. It is not very easy, but you all are very intelligent and learned people, so it won't be difficult for you. Think of this. Any particular object you are looking at, there are two aspects that automatically come together there. One is the isness, and the other the particular name, function, and so forth. Like we say that this podium is, the chair is, John sitting there is, this building is, the sun, moon, earth, they all are. So it is, this is. Now, with everything, these two awarenesses arise. That one is, say, when I say this is chair, isness and chairness. Now the chairness keeps on shifting. It is not constant. Like you may think of, because those things are more temporary, easy to see, that if you think of a clay pot or a glass pot, now they are breakable things easily, that falls down and breaks. They are temporary things. It is a story in when Swami Vivekananda was at Belud Math, and a novice was bringing tea for him in a cup. And somebody probably pushed him or whatever happened, and the cup fell down and broke. And this novice felt very depressed. And Vivekananda said to him, "Oh, don't worry, you know these things, these cups and all, they do not die of plague or cholera. Their end comes in this manner only. Everything in the world has to end. So how can a cup end? It doesn't get a heart attack. It doesn't die by cholera or some such thing. It dies in this manner, falls down and breaks. So don't worry." So these things, they change. These forms change. Their names change. When it breaks down, and then you put all those pieces in the trash, now they go somewhere. Now it is now not discernible as cup anymore. It cannot be called cup. But the clayness survives. So in everything, the isness, you see, isness survives. Isness never vanishes. Isness is ever there. All other things are shapes given to these isness, and they are connected in different ways by speech. Like one shape gets a name, that Tom. Other shape also gets some name, Nick. And then Tom would say, "Nick and I, we are brothers." So it is what? One name and shape which is changing, is getting a changing connection with another similar name and shape. Both are shapes. What does not change there is the existence itself. That remains the same. Now, many intricate questions arise about it. Many philosophies have targeted this question, a very important one, because what is and what is not, when we see that through a kaleidoscope, kaleidoscope, it is so many, infinitely many variations can be seen. Inside, if you see, there are a few beads of glass. That's it. Some colored beads of glass are put there. As children, we used to spend hours and hours looking through it, change it, and call somebody, hey, look, this, and don't turn it. This is the best scene. But while passing on, a little movement would happen, and then that person would see something quite different. So, this world is like the reality seen through the kaleidoscope of time, space, and causation. A kaleidoscope has, these three mirrors, three strips of mirrors tied together. And so the thing inside, they keep on getting reflected into each other, and they keep on multiplying like that infinitely. There is no limit. How many things are in that you are seeing? Uncountable. It is infinite. How many things are actually there? Maybe 2 or 3 pieces of glass. So, this is a wonderful analogy to describe our perception, our awareness of this universe. We are seeing the divine. Whatever name you gave, the existence itself. This existence, one without second. It is not possible to call it just one, because it is again a number, and so something that is beyond numeration. So the ways of describing it, our language certainly falls short there. So we have to combine certain words to give an idea. So it is said that this is non-dual. This existence is non-dual, or in some places it is addressed as one without a second. So it is ekameva dvitiyam. The Sanskrit word is ekameva dvitiyam, that it is one without a second. It is said God is one without a second. So somebody commented here, so God is therefore busiest person, has not even a second to spare. So one without even a second to spare. So it is so busy. The idea is that there is no separation in it to show this and this. Like in clay, there is no separation as such. When you look at the pots, then the separation starts making sense. But these pots, they are made and they are gone. It would appear very, spontaneously and clearly. The example that I was giving you, you walk past that potter's courtyard, and you see the clay, heap of clay. Then you see that the pots are made. Now that clay is those pots. The heap, earlier it had the shape of heap. Now it has, that same clay has the shape of various pots. Now they are put in the sun to dry, and suddenly the clouds gather, a heavy downpour. and all the pots, they get all kind of destroyed, the shapes get destroyed, and then the potter again collects the clay, because the clay is not destroyed, so again the heap of clay is seen there. Now, that existence never goes away. That which actually is real never becomes unreal. That is that great verse in Bhagavad Gita, Nasato vidyate bhavo. That which is unreal never becomes real. And na abhavo vidyate satah. That which is real never loses its existence. So this is the criterion that is given to see what is real and what is not real. What is really real? It is this question, when we ask ourselves, it provides a wonderful sense of what we should cherish in our life. This is a philosophical idea, a great philosophical idea, but it is a very practically useful one too. The practical use of this is when something is seen as real, then our life is woven around it. That which is seen as unreal, our life does not get woven around it. We tend to see the names and form as if they are real, and that which has got these changing names and forms, we tend to not see it, and therefore our life is just being woven around different names and forms. That is what we keep our hold on, thinking that they are real. And then as it were, to keep more hold on it, we associate various relations with it. Like, this is my husband, this is my wife, this is my friend, and this is my enemy, this is my so-and-so. All these connections are made. Now, that the one who is making connection and the one with whom the connection is made, those names and forms are continuously in flux, shifting all the time. And so, when we see that, no, I cannot really hold on to it, because the one who is trying to hold on, that also is changing, and the one which is being held on, that also is changing. And so, our hopes of really having something permanent, they are continuously dashed, because there is no permanence in these names and forms. Having observed this, Buddha therefore said that they are all empty. There is no content to any of these. And therefore, although he himself did not say that, the idea of nihilism got associated with Buddhism, that so nothing really exists, all is unreal. And so, unreal, everything, including the substratum, that also is unreal. It is like throwing the baby with the bath water. It is the existence, that isness never goes away. It is coming again and again without really vanishing. Like the pot vanished, but a different form is there. The clay is there, the clay is always there. So, our easiness, suppose a pot vanishes, does the easiness of the pot vanish? There is a discussion about it. That why should we then accept the easiness? Let us say that nothing really is. Swami Vivekananda answers this question in somewhat modern language, pointing out first the practical infeasibility of it. That nobody can really be nihilist in that sense. One may talk many words, but there cannot be any really nihilist, because that person believes, accepts, really conceives one's own existence. That easiness has to be there even when we want to be nihilist. So that easiness is not going to go away. Moreover, it does not depend on the attributes. The attributes, they come and go. Like a person is, say, healthy or sick. It changes. Yesterday was sick, today became healthy. Now, the healthiness and sickness, these attributes go away, come and go. But that existence does not go away. The names you apply, they change. But the existence itself does not go away. It remains. That is the substratum, that all-pervading essence or the nature of the things that remains. So, we have to therefore learn to make our life go towards it. The practical application of this is that when you understand something as unreal, only a name and form, your attraction to it vanishes. It is only when you see that it is real, you get drawn towards it. It is like the example I had given, that all the reactions that one may be seeing, a donut there, and if you feel hungry, then you will stretch your hand to it and you will say, okay, let me eat this, because you know that it is real. Do you think you can stretch your hand to these pictures and get nobody even will get this idea, that even kids cannot be deceived, because they know that it is not there, it is only an appearance. So, in this world, we do not see this, and therefore we get deceived by different names and forms. We get pulled towards them, thinking that they are real, and then we get deceived. But we are too proud to admit that we were cheated, too proud to to come to this conclusion that no, this was not real. We keep on saying, no, it is real, it is good, I didn't try to get the whole properly, that's all. And next time I will give it a better try and get properly connected and so forth. It is all in this whole process. The names and forms are seen as non-existent, completely, continuously changing and losing the meaning that once we ascribed to them. It all changes. And thus, imagine, if a stupid person tries to take the donut from the screen, what will happen? Will not get that, will get his fingers hit and may break maybe the TV if he tries too hard. That will be the end result, because it is an appearance and not reality. So a wise person learns to discern between the reality and appearance. So what is real? It is the existence itself. Therefore, in Vedanta, the God is spoken of as Sat. Sat, existence itself. That doesn't go away. And that gets superimposed by the names and forms. Now the superimpositions, they are just superimpositions. They do not affect the reality. That is a very important point to remember, that whatever we superimpose on reality does not affect the reality. It affects the one who is superimposing. That is, the effect is on the one who is superimposing. One famous example is that if you see a snake where there is rope actually, because there was not enough light, and on a lonely forest street, you already had heard in the trekking that there are poisonous snakes around there. So in the mind already there is some extra palpitation, nobody else is around, getting kind of evening, things are not properly seen, and you suddenly see a snake. Oh my goodness, miss a stroke in the heart, oh wow, what should be done, fear and all that. And some people have got heart attack because of this fear. Now when the light comes or you go closer, and what happens? You see it was just a rope lying there, a piece of rope was lying there, there wasn't any snake. Now you are seeing snake in rope. Did it change the rope actually? Did it make the rope actually get some poison into it? It wouldn't have pounced on you, it wouldn't have jumped on you, it wouldn't be biting you at all. Just because of your seeing the snake, the rope did not get any effect. You got the effect. As soon as you saw the reality, it is rope. Now all the fear goes away, you feel at ease, you breathe easy and all that. So when we see the truth in these superimpositions, these are all superimpositions on God. We are all actually divine friends. That is the existence. Forms, names, they are all superimposition. This form called, I call it Yogatmananda. People who know me from earlier days, they call it differently. They have different names for these forms. The forms and names, they are superimposed on the reality. Time and space draws the lines there. And we see, our brain gives shapes. We say reality is three-dimensional. It is not that reality is three-dimensional, or Einstein associated the dimension of time, so it is a four-dimensional reality. It is how our brains conceives it. It is a limitation of our brain that we say it is three-dimensional or four-dimensional. The reality doesn't get affected by that. An ant they say, has only one-dimensional vision. So only length is perceived, no other dimensions are perceived. So does the world or the reality changes? It is the ant's perception that changes, that's all. It is, we have a different programming on our brain, so we see it three-dimensional or four-dimensional, whatever you may say, but that doesn't have any impact on reality. It is our changing perception, that's it. So, when we take a hard look at this, we now have this criterion: that which changes is not real, that which does not change is real. We now can direct our attention to that which is real. It is going to bring the real happiness for us. Otherwise, well, running after the vanishing names and forms, various unreal aspirations, that becomes the nature of our living. If it is to become a really peaceful and joyous life, then the reality is to be seen, and to be seen with clarity. There is no fear there. Then in ignorance we get scared that then this whole universe, all these beautiful forms, all these my own people and all that all go away? It will and it will not. It will go away means the sense of reality associated with names and forms will go away. The sense of permanence about them will go away. And the sense of permanence will be shifted to that reality which is. And that is the source of all happiness too. That which is, that brings the sense of fulfillment and happiness in our life. That which is not, because there also there is, you are becoming aware of the existence itself. You are feeling some happiness. But because the attention is on name and form, we keep on missing it all the time. Keep on just expecting, tomorrow the life will be so happy. Once I get through this high school, I used to think once, that just let me go through this high school. Too much of problem, in the high school. I have to maintain the schedule, this, that, study and this. Then once I go through this high school, then I am going to break free and it will be all full of happiness. No, then it changed further that, well, once I clear my college, then it will happen. Or once I get a high-paying job, then it will happen. Well, the life just keeps on ebbing away till at some good moment we realize that day really is the golden day, super, far better than golden day. That it is, then we realize this. Oh, actually, this is all the God, divine, blissful reality all around me that never changes, that is beyond all specifications of time and space, impossible to describe, but can be felt, can be experienced. And this experience, friends, brings the ultimate fulfillment in our life. That is how we should guide our life, not towards the empty holes, you see. Thank you, friends.